Hi guys, vlog number 3, and here we are on week number 3 of the build here at Hadlow College. We're blurring the lines a little bit because this week has actually been around about 8 days in total. So obviously behind me I've got the enclosure that we've been spending most of our time on. So enclosure number 1, and we've actually been doing a little bit more work on this. So we've got the visual barriers in place. This big visual barrier is basically to separate the two different enclosures so that the two species can't see each other. But there's obviously been lots of studies that show that actually if you have two species next to each other, it's still important to let them to be able to see each other if they want to. So up the top there is still a little bit of a gap where they can actually sort of look at each other if they want to there. We've also started on the roofing mesh. So we've not got all the way across this yet. Basically we had the storm come through, so that's meant that we can't actually get up onto the roof at all. So we've been doing quite a bit of stuff down on the ground. So we've now got the front of the enclosure starting to take shape. You can see where the windows are going to go, where there's a little bit of a visual barrier between the animals and the public here as well as actually starting on the safety porch. So this is a big safety porch. It's actually going to service both enclosures. And the first enclosure's got a shut off and the main exhibit as well. The doors are huge, they're 1.5 metres wide. From my own experience as a keeper, there's nothing worse than not being able to get things through your safety porch door. So we've made sure these are nice and big so that things can easily be brought in here, and there's lots of space in the safety porch to be able to store things if you want to. But the main focus of these last 8 days has actually been the second enclosure. So we've been working on this for most of the time. I've not filmed a huge amount apart from the immediate digging of the trench. This is actually going to be a digging species in this enclosure. So we've had to go down very, very deep in order to sort of put some mesh down into the ground, and then also to get the poles even further down in there. So this is what the enclosure did look like, and then this is what the enclosure now looks like. It's a mud bath, but the area is now completely different to what we had here before. So obviously we did have the fence which separated the goat enclosure over here from where we were going to be building. So some of the students were actually in last week on a Tuesday taking that fence line down, and now our enclosure is actually going to be that fence. So that right hand wall of it there is going to be solid by the end of today. Obviously we've had a digger on site. We've just happened to work through the storm which was here over the weekend as well, so we've got a lot of tidying up to do today. This is still a mud bath in here, but it's already looking a bit better, so I'm going to try and scrape off as much of that today as I possibly can before we finish for this week. But yeah, you can see the top of the mesh just in the ground down there. The mesh goes into the ground in most places about 1 metre, apart from the areas where we've hit rock, in which case we're not too worried about digging species going through rock, so it's a little bit higher. And then yeah, the front of this enclosure will look very similar to the first one, but obviously with a digging slash well, not climbing but more jumping species. Most of this will actually be tinned around the inside, so there's still a lot of work to do, but over 8 days we've made a huge amount of progress. It's hard to see here because most of the work has been focused on digging out this huge trench all around, then digging down even deeper with the auger to get the poles in the ground, and then getting the mesh in and then backfilling it all. So it's been a hell of a lot of work, but as soon as we start filling it back in, it's kind of like, well, what have you actually been up to? But there's been a lot going on here. So if I just walk through into the goat enclosure here at the moment. So as I said, this side of the enclosure will be the fence line separating the two exhibits. So the guys yesterday started putting up the framework for the fence, and then also making a start on the fence down this end, which obviously runs right up to the original fence at the back here. So that's going to continue all the way across. Plan for today, we need to get everything done with the digger, this fence completed so they can get the goats back in here, and then we're off for 5 days to go and do other things. So yeah, lots done, still lots to do, but amazing progress, especially as we work through a storm. So well done to Team Bite.